The girl accidentally discovered a strange girl getting out of her boyfriend's car. At first, she didn't think much of it because her boyfriend had told her the new intern at his company lived in the same complex as him. She had to transfer buses multiple times to get to work, and her boyfriend felt it wasn't right to pretend not to see her. So he gave her a ride every day. But what Yumi didn't expect was that the intern her boyfriend mentioned was actually a sweet and cute girl. This instantly made Yumi feel a sense of crisis. Especially when she saw the girl and her boyfriend smiling happily while grilling meat, this sense of crisis intensified. Yumi suppressed her jealousy and generously invited Yi-da to eat barbecue with them. Yi-da wanted to leave, but her foolish boyfriend also spoke up, then just have a little. In the middle of it, her boyfriend had to leave temporarily. Yumi and Yi-da started chatting. Whenever Yi-da mentioned Bobby, her eyes would light up. She even praised him for being humorous and witty. This made Yumi's heart leap into her throat. Bobby went to the supermarket to buy something and happened to see Yi-da. Thinly dressed, walking home. Out of kindness, he lent Yi-da a spare jacket from his car. Yumi was waiting at the door for Bobby to return, but unexpectedly saw Yi-da wearing Bobby's jacket. Although she understood that the gentlemanly Bobby must have met Yi-da on the road. Saw she was lightly dressed, and generously lent her the jacket. Yumi still felt uncomfortable. Actually, Bobby didn't pay any attention to the sweet and cute Yi-da. The first time Yi-da spoke to him, he didn't even know who this girl was. But by then, Yi-da was already attracted to Bobby, who was calm and mature at work, and handsome and sexy in life. When she heard Bobby would give her a ride to work, her heart was about to explode with joy. But she also knew clearly that Bobby was a man she could never have. Because he had a girlfriend, and he often praised Yumi at the company. Yi-da didn't want to cross the line, nor did she want to interfere in their relationship. So she resigned and was going to Busan. On the day of her departure, she unexpectedly met Bobby. Her fluttering heart, mixed with unease, made her unable to resist confessing. I have someone I like, but he has a girlfriend. Should I not tell him? It's best not to say anything. But human emotions are really strange. Before, Bobby didn't care about Yi-da at all. But hearing her confession, Bobby's usually firm heart suddenly wavered. He remembered Yi-da's smile was very cute, always full of vitality, and hard-working and down-to-earth at work. This strange thought flashed by. Because he knew the person he loved was Yumi. He would miss her if they didn't video call for a day. Learning that she was wronged at work, even if he wasn't by her side, he would immediately buy her a bunch of desserts to cheer her up. As for Yi-da, she was just an insignificant episode. Soon, it was Christmas Day. Yumi decided to go to Jeju Island to spend the holiday with Bobby. When she arrived, she found a real estate agent showing people the house. Only then did Yumi realize Bobby was preparing to move. Bobby explained that his current place was too far from the company, and he wanted to move to a closer apartment. Yumi felt very puzzled. Bobby had clearly said he enjoyed driving by the seaside, but she decided to respect Bobby's choice. To give Bobby a surprise when he came home from work, Yumi decorated the room early and bought a cake in advance. But on her way home, she saw Yi-da standing dazedly in front of Bobby's house. Upon seeing Yumi, Yi-da was flustered and seemed very unnatural. Yumi said she might not see Bobby much anymore, because Bobby had decided to move. Is it because of me? What, does it have anything to do with you? After learning Yi-da had confessed to Bobby, Yumi's eyes instantly turned red. Only then did she realize Bobby was moving because of Yi-da. That night, Bobby came home with flowers but found Yumi wasn't there. He called, but no one answered. Bobby had to drive around looking for her. Finally, he saw Yumi when passing by a coffee shop. Yumi openly asked Bobby the reason for moving. Bobby was stunned. His secret had been discovered by Yumi. When your colleague confessed to you, didn't your heart waver even a little? Bobby's silence gave Yumi the answer. Yumi's heart broke. She never imagined she would break up like this with the boyfriend who had accompanied her through the hardest times. Before meeting Bobby, Yumi had a boyfriend she dated for a year. Ku Wang. She had decided he was the one and proposed marriage. But Ku Wang was a man who prioritized his career. Although he also liked Yumi, he had no intention of getting married. The harsh reality brought their relationship to an end. Yumi rationally and calmly accepted it all. But when night fell, her longing grew uncontrollably. Looking at her boyfriend's photo, Yumi couldn't help but miss him. She wanted to send a message to win him back. But wouldn't it seem too pathetic to try so soon after breaking up? So she forced herself to sleep, trying not to think about the breakup. But sweet memories from their time together kept flooding her mind. Unable to sleep all night, Yumi decided to just apologize. She shouldn't have mentioned marriage, that wasn't what she truly wanted. To win Ku Wang back, she completely let go of her pride. Ku Wang the number you have dialed is temporarily unavailable. Her anxious anticipation was crushed. At that moment, Yumi suddenly realized they had truly broken up. She fought back the bitterness in her heart and deleted Ku Wang's contact information. Although her heart was filled with dark clouds, she didn't want to show any of it to her colleagues. She tried to show a positive and optimistic side, working constantly, exercising crazily. A few days later, her heart finally cleared up. She had completely moved on from the shadow of the breakup. However, an unknown call while she was washing her hair dragged her back into the abyss. She thought it was Ku Wang calling to get back together. She rushed to pick up the phone, not even bothering to dry her hands. But the voice on the other end was asking if she needed a loan. The sudden disappointment made Yumi realize she still loved Ku Wang. She couldn't help but look at his social media, and unexpectedly found he had changed his couple profile picture. Such an ordinary change, yet it stirred up huge waves in Yumi's heart. She lost sleep again. Yumi couldn't control her desire to know Ku Wang's current situation. After looking through photos of his friend's friend, Yumi finally saw Ku Wang. the man she used to embrace freely. Now she could only miss him through a screen. The fact of their breakup was laid out clearly before her eyes, forcing Yumi to accept it. She changed her profile status to a crying emoji. And Won, on the other side of the screen, seeing it, couldn't help but tear up. Intense longing stretched as long as the night. It seems people in love always have to break up. Just then, a colleague from work who had a crush on her called. He said he had a proposal to show her. Yumi waited for Bobby in the complex for a long time. Just as she was about to call him, Bobby finally appeared. How have you been lately? What? Cheer up. Yumi was very confused, but Bobby's words of encouragement comforted her wounded heart. Yumi gradually returned to her normal life. At work, Yumi unexpectedly discovered Bobby and she shared a common interest. They both liked reading romance novels. Thanks to Bobby's recommendation, Yumi found a novel that really suited her taste. She stayed up all night to finish it. The next morning, Yumi returned the book to Bobby, thoughtfully including chocolate cookies. Yumi instantly felt more favorable towards Bobby. Through these interactions, the two gradually became familiar. One day, on the way home from work, Yumi was so shocked she didn't know what to do. This was the first time someone had confessed to her after her breakup. At the same time, her heart couldn't help but waver. If she started a new relationship with Bobby, perhaps she could forget Won and overcome the sadness of her breakup. But Yumi was also very rational. She knew very well she didn't have romantic feelings for Bobby, so she calmly rejected him. Bobby was full of anticipation for Yumi's answer, but that expectation ultimately fell through. Back home, Yumi wasn't sure if she had done the right thing, but she didn't want to casually start a new relationship. After that day, whenever Yumi saw Bobby, she always felt guilty for rejecting him, and unconsciously started paying attention to his updates. She gathered her courage and took the initiative to greet Bobby. Unexpectedly, Bobby's attitude was unusually cold. Yumi guessed he might be hurt inside because of her rejection. She even consoled herself that Bobby's greetings to others were usually very brief. But the next second, she was proven wrong. Let's go together, Mr. Ba. Yumi wanted to ease the awkward relationship, so she offered to help Bobby move things, but was met with a heartless rejection. This made Yumi feel even more sorry for Bobby. But the next morning, Yumi, who missed her bus, unexpectedly saw Bobby with his ex-girlfriend. The girl playfully tugged at Bobby's sleeve, and then they left together in a car. Only then did Yumi realize that Bobby's cold attitude towards her yesterday wasn't because his confession failed, but because he had gotten back with his ex-girlfriend. Yumi felt extremely embarrassed for her wishful thinking. Although she said it was fine this way, Yumi's heart was quietly changing. This day, Yumi was about to go home after work, but was invited by colleagues for a company dinner. Only after Yumi arrived did she realize it was Bobby's team dinner. Her enthusiasm vanished instantly. During the dinner, a gossipy colleague asked Bobby if he had a girl he liked. There is a girl I like, but she rejected me some time ago. The colleagues all felt that girl was too unappreciative, not even liking such an excellent man as Bobby. Her taste is too poor. Yumi, on the side, felt extremely guilty. She even suspected Bobby said it intentionally for her to hear, to create a victim persona for himself. After the dinner, Yumi faced the awkwardness of taking the bus home with Bobby. To avoid arousing colleagues' suspicion, Yumi reluctantly boarded the bus. Throughout the ride, Yumi dared not even breathe loudly. Bobby tried to ease the awkward atmosphere, but Yumi never responded to him. Bobby suddenly pressed the bell. Am I making you very uncomfortable? I should get off first. Bobby's action scored major points with Yumi again, but she was also very angry. It was clearly Bobby who felt guilty towards her for getting back with his ex. So why was she the one feeling uncomfortable? Yumi angrily sent a message saying he should be the one feeling sorry. Bobby suddenly realized. He immediately called Yumi, explaining that his ex-girlfriend was drunk and clinging to him that day. He had already told her not to look for him anymore, and asked Yumi to wait for him. Yumi, still fuming, accused Bobby of always acting like he was thinking of her. I'm really happy. You started to care about me. Bobby's frankness made Yumi's heart race uncontrollably. Yumi thought Bobby, who could still bravely express his feelings after being rejected, was truly amazing. She started to unconsciously pay attention to Bobby, caring about his little habits. How many buttons on his shirt were undone? What kind of cologne he used? One day, she heard from a friend that Bobby was going on a blind date. The blind date was a great beauty. Not only hot but also understanding. Definitely Bobby's type. Yumi felt a pang of sourness. If she hadn't said she wanted to be friends with Bobby that day, would he not have gone on the blind date? Annoyance and regret welled up, making Yumi distracted at work. She wanted Bobby not to go on the blind date, to tell him directly that she liked him too. But then she thought, wouldn't that be too sudden? Recalling how Bobby, after breaking up with his ex, threw away the couple rings without any lingering attachment. Perhaps he had already given up on liking her. The day Bobby went on his blind date, Yumi felt she had no energy for anything. Finally, she fell asleep soundly on the sofa. When she woke up groggily, she had received a message from Bobby. It turned out Bobby wanted to return her umbrella. But looking at the time of the message, Yumi was completely speechless. She had missed Bobby's message just like that. Yumi replied without much hope, saying he could return the umbrella another day. Unexpectedly, Bobby replied instantly, asking to meet her at 10 a.m. in a coffee shop. Yumi was extremely excited. She decided to make the most of this meeting. The next day, Yumi woke up early and carefully dressed up. She wanted to present her best self to Bobby, whom she liked. The moment he saw Yumi, Bobby's eyes lit up. That heart-fluttering feeling struck again. Bobby returned the umbrella to Yumi. Yumi took the opportunity to offer Bobby coffee, actually wanting to find out the result of yesterday's blind date. Seeing Bobby constantly replying to messages, Yumi guessed yesterday's blind date must have gone very well. She couldn't help but feel extremely disappointed. Just as she was losing hope, a colleague unexpectedly called, saying Bobby didn't even go to the blind date last night. He was constantly messaging today to explain to his blind date that he had just been rejected by someone he liked and hadn't sorted out his feelings yet. He felt it wasn't right to go on a blind date like that. Yumi felt a great sense of relief upon hearing this news. She decided not to hide her feelings anymore. Actually, I like you too. So, can we start now? A simple and direct hit. It directly broke through Yumi's emotional walls. The two thus fell in love. But they worked at the same company. To avoid being discovered by colleagues, Yumi and Bobby could only secretly get close when no one was around. Bobby would secretly give Yumi chocolates and files. Yumi would use a specific secret code to tell Bobby the time for their date. Tonight was their first date after getting together. They went to a super delicious street food stall. But when ordering, Yumi hesitated. She really wanted to eat the stall's signature offal. But Bobby looked so gentlemanly and clean. Not like someone who would eat offal. Plus, she had just started dating Bobby and wanted to leave a good impression. Yumi was about to say she didn't like offal, but then felt that hiding her true preferences in front of her lover wasn't a healthy relationship. I'll have an order of pork liver. Bobby's display of his true self instantly eased Yumi's initial dating awkwardness. She beamed and loudly stated her preference. At this moment, Yumi clearly realized how comfortable and happy it was to be her true self in a relationship. She was very grateful for Bobby's thoughtfulness and tolerance. After dinner, they went to buy coffee. Yumi was a bit giddy from eating delicious pig ears. Feeling a bit lightheaded, she almost fell going down the stairs. In her panic, she grabbed Bobby's chest, just below his shoulder. Yumi couldn't help but think, wow, this texture was definitely from working out. It seemed Bobby exercised regularly. Her heart blossomed as she naturally slid into Bobby's embrace. Instantly, both of them blushed, their hearts racing. They looked at each other and shyly averted their gaze. The atmosphere was slightly awkward but filled with a lingering, sweet, heart-fluttering feeling. Yumi felt that being with Bobby was truly blissful. Bobby not only healed her breakup trauma but also made her mentally healthier. She lived every day happy and full of anticipation. In life, Bobby was always direct. If he saw she was cold, he would directly give her his jacket. If he found a fun place, he would directly take her there. Whether it was confessing or just spending time together, he made Yumi feel deeply loved. Yumi became more confident because of this. She didn't want their first date to end so quickly. Just then, Bobby suggested going to an art village, a 5-minute drive away. As soon as Yumi got in the car, Bobby took out 2 mints. Only after eating it did Yumi realize, could this be Bobby's hint for a kiss? Yumi felt restless but also full of anticipation. She had to finish the mint within the 5-minute drive. Thinking this, she quickened her chewing. Bobby found Yumi adorable. He didn't expect Yumi to like crushing her candies. Oh, so you like to chew them? I like to eat them slowly like this. Bobby's shocked and innocent reply made Yumi freeze instantly. Could it be he just wanted to eat candy? He wasn't hinting at her at all? Yumi was extremely annoyed, blaming herself for being too presumptuous. She hadn't even come back to her senses when Bobby told her to get out of the car. This day, Yumi's ceiling light broke. Helpless, Yumi had to stay at Bobby's place for a night. After getting in the car, Yumi felt Bobby was looking at her strangely. It wasn't until they were in the elevator that Yumi realized she hadn't taken off her face mask. She laughed awkwardly. Bobby found Yumi extremely cute. Yumi rushed into the bathroom. Seeing herself looking like a ghost, she felt utterly embarrassed. She opened her bag, wanting to change into comfortable loungewear. But as soon as she took it out, she was completely stunned. She had actually packed a sexy slip dress. Yumi had to brace herself and ask Bobby for pajamas. Unexpectedly, she ran into Bobby coolly undoing his tie with one hand. Yumi's heart completely fluttered. She took Bobby's pajamas and was about to change, but found it was only a top. Perhaps this was Bobby's hint to her. She awkwardly held it against herself. In the end, she still put it on. But the length, just reaching her thighs, still made Yumi feel a bit shy. Forgot to give you the pants. Bobby didn't even dare to look Yumi in the eye. At this moment, Yumi wished she could dig a hole and hide. Bobby was also quite startled by this. Yumi had just changed her clothes when Bobby asked if she wanted to take a shower. As he spoke, he approached her step by step. Yumi was cornered, feeling both nervous and excited. But Bobby was just introducing her to the toiletries. Yumi dispelled the misunderstanding with an awkward smile. It turned out she had misunderstood. Bobby went to take a shower. Yumi kept waiting for him. Eventually, she got so sleepy she fell asleep on the sofa. Thoughtful Bobby didn't want to disturb Yumi, so he turned off the lights and brought a blanket to cover her. He gently placed a pillow under her head, looking at his beloved girl with eyes full of love. Finally, he fell asleep beside Yumi. It was an ordinary yet sweet night, but Yumi felt incredibly happy. The next morning, as soon as Yumi opened her eyes, she saw Bobby's handsome sleeping face. Her little heart was struck again. The moment she made eye contact with Bobby, Yumi instantly became incredibly shy. After getting up, Bobby took Yumi to a library. Yumi completely fell in love with the atmosphere there. She recalled her past dream of becoming a writer. With Bobby's encouragement, Yumi reignited her dream of writing, so she decisively quit her job and chose to become a writer. 33-year-old Yumi gave up a promising career and decided to start from scratch to challenge writing. Perhaps in others' eyes, she seemed hopeless, but Yumi was full of hope for the future. All this was the sense of security that the gentle and considerate Bobby gave her. Christmas was approaching. Yumi wanted to prepare a gift for Bobby. Unexpectedly, her landlord raised the rent at this time. This made the already not so wealthy Yumi's situation even worse. After resigning, Yumi had been living on her savings. She had even budgeted for the next year. The sudden rent increase disrupted all her plans. To buy Bobby a Christmas gift, Yumi decided to sell an unused rice cooker from her home. She wanted to raise the price to 120 won, but the buyer was only willing to pay 110 won. Financially tight, Yumi was unwilling to compromise. In the end, the price wasn't agreed upon. Yumi had to dip into her budget to buy Bobby a gift. That evening, they bought a cake together, ready to go home for the holiday. Just then, the rice cooker buyer suddenly contacted her again, wanting to meet in person that night. Yumi was about to refuse, but thinking it was money, she agreed. She told Bobby she had something urgent to do and would go to his place in half an hour. But when Yumi took the rice cooker and rushed to the meeting point, the buyer turned out to be her ex, Koo Wong. Meeting her ex again after breaking up, Yumi felt a pang of bitterness. She never expected the once high-spirited young man would fall to the point of buying a second-hand rice cooker. It had clearly been less than a year since they broke up. But Koo Wong seemed like a completely different person. His previous long, curly hair was gone, and he had lost a lot of weight. And Yumi, who had short hair when they broke up, now had long hair tied up, looking more confident and beautiful. Koo Wong had many things he wanted to say, but Yumi didn't give him any chance. She directly took out the second-hand pot he wanted to buy. The price they had agreed on was 115,000 Korean won. Although Koo Wong was struggling financially, he still directly took out 120,000 won and said, "Keep the change." But Yumi, despite his repeated refusals, as if to draw a clear line, put the 5,000 won on the box. Looking at Yumi's determined retreating figure, Koo Wong's eyes instantly reddened. He didn't expect this reunion to be even more awkward than their breakup. Actually, Yumi was far from as carefree as Koo Wong imagined. On the way to Bobby's house for Christmas, she kept thinking about how haggard Koo Wong looked, wondering if he had encountered difficulties. It was also at this time that she discovered Koo Wong's company had gone bankrupt long ago. And during the most difficult time of Koo Wong's life, she wasn't there by his side. Yumi felt troubled. Was turning and leaving just now too heartless? Should she wish Koo Wong a Merry Christmas? Bobby didn't know his girlfriend had met her ex. At this moment, he was joyfully preparing Christmas dinner for Yumi. But Yumi's mood completely soured after seeing her ex. Her mind was full of Koo Wong. Koo Wong was also missing Yumi. When they broke up, he said he had signed with a big company, wanted to focus on his career, and didn't plan to marry. Actually, it was all a lie to Yumi. He just didn't want Yumi to suffer with him after his business failed. After the breakup, he wasn't doing well at all. He was deep in debt, and suffered from insomnia day and night. He wanted to contact Yumi several times, but was afraid he would cry if he heard Yumi's voice. His strong pride made him choose to endure it alone. But after reuniting, Yumi's Merry Christmas completely shattered his pride. He still wanted to be with Yumi. Yumi heard a text message and thought it was from her dad. She asked Bobby to look at it. It's from someone named Koo Wong. Yumi looked at Bobby, feeling guilty and ashamed. He was still immersed in the joy of making dinner, as if he didn't know the text message asking her to meet was from her ex. Yumi didn't want to hurt Bobby, but she was also afraid Koo Wong would wait for her in the freezing weather. Bobby actually knew the message was from Koo Wong, but he wanted Yumi to make her own choice. Bobby, what? I need to go out for a bit. I know. Bobby, like a gentleman, generously gave Koo Wong and Yumi some time. He believed that when he completely trusted his girlfriend, her ex-boyfriend couldn't play any role. When Koo Wong saw Yumi appear, his eyes lit up. He desperately wanted to win Yumi back. But Yumi, like Bobby, was frank and sincere, speaking directly. I have a boyfriend, let's not see each other anymore. This left Koo Wong at a loss. It was as if a downpour started in his heart. Only then did he understand that Yumi met him so they wouldn't see each other again. Bobby, I'm hungry. Days passed by like this. Yumi's submissions were rejected time after time. Meanwhile, Bobby got promoted and was transferred to Jeju Island. This made Yumi very anxious. She was afraid the gap between her and Bobby was widening, so she also found a part-time job in her spare time. After Yumi's manuscript was rejected for the 8th time, she was completely disheartened. Maybe she didn't have any talent for writing at all. To not worry Bobby, Yumi pretended to be happy. To change her mood, Yumi went to Jeju Island to find Bobby, and also to relax a bit. As soon as Bobby saw Yumi, he sensed she wasn't truly happy. He comforted Yumi, saying it was okay, keep trying for the next submission. You'll definitely succeed. The vulnerable Yumi's eyes instantly reddened. Actually, she was really sad and also truly tired. But this was her own decision. Yumi's tears hadn't dried yet when she received a message from the publishing house. It said that although her work wasn't selected this time, the theme was very novel and interesting. They wanted to publish her book. Happiness came too suddenly. Yumi and Bobby hugged, crying tears of joy. That night, they went for a drive by the sea. Fireworks in the distance witnessed their sweet love. Bobby quietly put Yumi's hand into his pocket. When she took it out again, there was a couple's ring on her hand. It turned out today was their first anniversary. Yumi was completely touched by this sudden surprise. She thought she and Bobby could continue to be happy like this. Unexpectedly, Yi Da's appearance caused a rift in their relationship. Not long after Yumi and Bobby broke up, one day, she suddenly saw a familiar face. 2 years after their breakup, she met Koo Wong again. The moment he saw Yumi, alarm bells went off in Koo Wong's mind because he had never been able to forget her. Not long ago, Koo Wong had accidentally learned Yumi had become a writer. He deliberately pretended in front of his friends to be nonchalant about it. But then he immediately ran to a bookstore and bought all of Yumi's works in one go. When Yumi came to the bookstore to observe readers' reactions, she found her books were all sold out. She was both surprised and delighted. 2 years ago, Koo Wong's business failed, his company went bankrupt, and he was in debt. To avoid burdening Yumi, he hid the truth and broke up with her. Now, successful in his career, he had become the CEO of a listed company. Seeing Yumi again, Koo-won pretended to be suave. To let her know how successful he was now, he deliberately showed off his expensive watch and casually placed his hand on a luxury car nearby. Yumi couldn't help but chuckle. Koo-won was still as childishly cute as before. Turns out, Yumi already knew Koo-won was very successful. She had seen his interview in a magazine and knew the game he developed was super popular. Yumi was genuinely happy for Koo-won. After saying goodbye to Yumi, Koo-won's heart was filled with mixed emotions. His heart also started to flutter, a feeling long absent. Yes, he still liked Yumi, but reason told him he had to restrain himself because Yumi was very happy now. Last Christmas, 1 year ago, Koo-won had thought about winning Yumi back, but she already had a boyfriend. Unwilling to give up, Koo-won wanted to know who that person was. So he looked through Yumi's social media accounts and found out that guy was actually Bobby. From then on, Koo-won made up his mind to never have anything to do with Yumi's life again. He spent half a year convincing himself to let go. He absolutely couldn't let all his progress be undone just by seeing her once. Koo-won decided to use work to numb himself. The first thing was to replace the illustrator he knew through Yumi. But he unexpectedly learned from him that Yumi had broken up with her boyfriend a few months ago. Hearing Yumi was now single, the scar on Koo-won's heart that had always been open miraculously healed. Now, he had only one thought in his mind, to win Yumi back. Koo-won created many sock puppet accounts and left a ton of comments under Yumi's updated novel, praising her to the skies. Yumi also enjoyed reading them immensely. Yumi received a call from her friend, learning Bobby had been transferred back from Jeju Island, because they lived in the same complex. Her friend was afraid Yumi would run into Bobby unprepared, so she told her the news in advance. In the days that followed, Yumi started to deliberately avoid places Bobby might be. She didn't dare buy her favorite bread and took detours to other supermarkets. Until one day, Yumi wanted to buy coffee, but this shop was also one Bobby frequented. Yumi struggled with herself for a long time. Today, she wasn't wearing makeup and was dressed sloppily. But then she thought, I probably won't be that unlucky. Besides, it was a weekday, so after letting her guard down, Yumi confidently entered the shop to buy coffee. While waiting, a familiar voice came from behind her. Yumi casually turned her head. She confidently greeted Bobby but intentionally or unintentionally maintained a distance. Until finally, she said a friendly goodbye to Bobby. Just then, Bobby chased after her and called out to Yumi. Bobby directly and boldly told Yumi how much he missed her. Those sweet memories were still vivid. After breaking up with Yumi, Bobby's world also became dull and colorless. He had also tried to win Yumi back, but he was one step too late. Later, when Bobby met Yi-da again, his attitude towards her was very cold. After enduring the bleak days of losing Yumi, Bobby resolutely returned to Seoul. He silently followed the novel Yumi was writing. To avoid troubling Yumi, he deliberately avoided all places where he might see her, but he also longed to see Yumi, because he had already thought about what he wanted to say to her. I miss you. At this moment, Yumi's heart, which had been pretending to be strong, was completely shaken. She had fantasized many times in her heart how to face Bobby after seeing him. She stubbornly said she didn't miss Bobby at all. Liar, do you know me that well? To actually say I'm lying. I hope when you said you didn't miss me just now, you were lying. Yumi's suppressed tears instantly welled up. Bobby felt very sorry for Yumi. He secretly vowed in his heart to never let Yumi be sad again. But getting back together after a breakup is the most difficult kind of love. Reality often falls short of expectations. She dated Bobby like before, but for some reason, she always felt very awkward. Probably because they hadn't seen each other for a long time. Yumi convinced herself like this. The next day, Yumi discussed cooperation with the illustrator and unexpectedly met her ex, Koo-won. She could tell at a glance it was no coincidence. The illustrator must have deliberately created this opportunity for her and Koo-won. But she had already reconciled with Bobby, although she didn't want people around her to know about this yet. It seemed she should tell Koo-won. The oblivious Koo-won was still full of anticipation, asking Yumi for dinner that night. Bobby and I got back together. There are so many men in the world. Why must you get back with an ex you broke up with? Jealousy and anger made Koo-won speak recklessly. Koo-won thought, since Yumi couldn't get back with him, to be fair, she shouldn't get back with that guy Bobby either. But in the end, he still held back his tears, suppressed the unwillingness in his heart, and wished Yumi happiness. He insisted on seeing Yumi off for the last time. But Yumi, to avoid suspicion, wanted to take a taxi. Now he definitely couldn't see her off. Yumi called Bobby, saying her friend had a fracture and needed treatment. She would be late for their date. When he heard it was Koo-won, Bobby's heart sank. Although Yumi said they only met accidentally because of work, he still felt uneasy. Koo-won felt he had embarrassed himself too much and didn't want to delay Yumi's date. Sorry for delaying your date. It's okay, I'll leave now. Just then, she saw Koo-won's shirt was torn. It was probably torn when he fell just now. Why is he still as clumsy and foolish as before? Someone who makes you want to take care of them. Memories from when they were dating suddenly flooded back. At that time, Yumi was sick. Koo-won rushed her to the hospital in his arms, and thoughtfully bought her a change of clothes. Now, she couldn't bear to let Koo-won go home looking so disheveled. Let me buy you a shirt. No need, it'll be quick. On her way to buy clothes, Yumi realized she forgot her phone. Koo-won saw it and wanted to take it to her. Unexpectedly, he ran into Bobby. When rivals in love meet, the atmosphere is very awkward. Learning Yumi had left her phone behind when she went out, Bobby reached out and took it back. But Koo-won, at this moment, started to speak up for Yumi. Yumi isn't like some people, so easily swayed. Bobby wasn't a fool, he understood what Koo Wong meant. The tension between them was palpable. Bobby also stopped being a gentleman and started to fight back. Koo Wong was retorted into silence. And Bobby called him a busybody. For a moment, Koo Wong felt like 1,000 arrows had pierced his heart. He was completely at a disadvantage. Since he couldn't win in love, he'd let his career do the talking. He was the president of a listed company, while Bobby was just a team leader in a food company. This round, Koo Wong regained his lost face. It was obvious Bobby couldn't maintain his composure. A war without gunpowder was about to begin. Just then, Yumi rushed back, having forgotten her phone. She couldn't buy clothes. At this, Bobby took off his jacket and gave it to Koo Wong. But who would want to wear their love rival's clothes? As they spoke, the two started arguing again. Yumi stopped them and told Koo Wong to stop talking. Watching Yumi and Bobby leave, Koo Wong's mood hit rock bottom. This day, Yumi and Bobby were on a date. She specially wore their first anniversary couple ring. It turned out, not long ago, Yumi discovered Bobby had always been wearing that couple ring. It's okay, wear it when you want to. Yumi was very grateful Bobby understood her so well. So, on the day of their date, she put the couple ring back on, wanting to face Bobby with a fresh start. But the scene before her made Yumi feel like a clown. The originally sweet atmosphere instantly became extremely awkward. Bobby got up to order drinks. After some thought, he turned back, explaining he was afraid she'd feel burdened, so he took it off. Yumi said she didn't mind, but she still felt very uncomfortable. She proactively changed the subject. Next week was Bobby's birthday. Yumi planned to have a picnic with him in the park, but Bobby said he was going on a business trip next week. Yumi felt a wave of disappointment. After breaking up and getting back together, their interactions were no longer intimate and seamless. Instead, there was a sense of unfamiliarity and awkwardness. Bobby drove Yumi home and helped her carry her things to her doorstep. If it were before, Yumi would definitely have asked Bobby to stay a little longer. But now, she didn't have the courage to ask. Watching Bobby's departing figure, Yumi wondered in her heart, was getting back together the right decision? After returning home, Yumi still took off the ring. Her heart seemed to close along with the drawer. The day Bobby went on his business trip, Yumi set her alarm early, wanting to see him off. But when she woke up, she received a message from Bobby, saying he was afraid of waking Yumi and had already left early and arrived at the airport. Yumi called him, but it said the call couldn't be connected. At this moment, Yumi felt an indescribable disappointment. She constantly checked if Bobby had replied. She waited until night. Bobby finally reported he was safe. After a few quick words, he went to rest. This day, she finally got a call from Bobby, but he hung up after less than 2 minutes. In the following days, Bobby's messages became fewer and shorter in duration, not even a single photo. Every time, he either said he had to inspect the factory or attend a meeting. Yumi couldn't help but let her imagination run wild. Could Bobby be regretting getting back together? Despite this, Yumi still prepared a cake on Bobby's birthday and video called him right on time, wanting to give Bobby a surprise. But after waiting for a long time, he didn't answer. Bobby sent a message saying he was at a social gathering. Yumi had to send Bobby her birthday wishes via text. Happy birthday. Thanks. This short reply cast a dark cloud over Yumi's mood, so she decided to go out to clear her head. But while crossing the road, she accidentally saw the Bobby she longed for day and night sitting in a taxi. Yumi thought her eyes were playing tricks on her. How could he, who was on a business trip in America, be here? Only after the taxi drove away did Yumi realize. She immediately hailed a cab and chased after him, wanting to ask Bobby why he lied, or if he had really changed his mind and found someone else. Yumi chased him to Bobby's doorstep, but she suddenly hesitated. If Bobby was really with someone else at home, how would she face it? But Yumi couldn't care less anymore. She urgently wanted to know the truth. The moment he saw Yumi, Bobby was also stunned. It turned out Bobby had a car accident on his business trip. He had been lying because he was afraid of worrying Yumi. Yumi felt both heartbroken and angry. Such a big thing happened, and Bobby didn't tell her. Were they really lovers like this? They were both carefully trying to mend their broken love, but why did they end up pushing each other further away? As if afraid Yumi would change her mind, Bobby took her to meet his parents the very next day. After getting the elders' approval, Yumi's mood was as sweet as honey. She couldn't help but post photos to show off her long-desired happiness. When Koo Wong learned Yumi was marrying Bobby, his eyes instantly reddened. He wanted to wish Yumi well like a normal friend, but he still felt unwilling. His heart skipped a beat. He inexplicably wanted to visit the complex where his ex lived. He and Yumi had spent their poorest but happiest days here. Back then, Yumi would wait for him by the window every night. Koo Wong woke up from his memories and saw someone moving Yumi's sofa. Were they moving it to their marital home? He walked into Yumi's house. The house full of memories made Koo Wong want to cry. He quickly fled the heartbreaking place. He happened to run into Yumi. You'll come to the wedding, right? Of course. That's good then. What, are you afraid I won't come? I'm really looking forward to seeing you in a wedding dress. Koo Wong felt a bit strange. Why did Yumi look puzzled? He quickly found the wedding invitation he hadn't dared to open. He realized he had misunderstood. It turned out Yumi's colleague was getting married. Koo Wong quickly reversed his car and went back. Only then did he learn Yumi moved because she bought a new house. I broke up. I thought you had heard. I didn't know. 8 months ago, Yumi was very ill. Bobby took meticulous care of her, making porridge himself, and staying up all night with her. However, on such a sweet and happy day, Yumi discovered the colleague who was ambiguous with Bobby before, Yi Da, was calling him again, and they didn't break up because Yi Da called Bobby in the middle of the night. Nor because Bobby still had Yi Da's number. The reason we broke up was. Seeing all this, my heart was surprisingly calm. Such a calm mood is not what a couple in passionate love should have. This time, after breaking up, Yumi was no longer hysterically sad. She worked and lived as usual. But the day before her colleague's wedding, Yumi discovered her laptop was missing. It contained 60 pages of her novel draft. She searched every corner of her house but couldn't find it. Yumi was about to go crazy. She decided to attend the wedding first and then figure it out. Meanwhile, Bobby was transferred to the Singapore branch and was about to go to the airport. Just then, he received a call from the coffee shop. Yumi's laptop was left there. They asked him to help return it. Bobby wanted to deliver it to Yumi himself. But the traffic was terrible, and his plane was about to take off. He had no choice but to put the laptop in an airport locker. I originally wanted to give it to you in person. Sorry for causing you this trouble. Even though we broke up, I will still support our writer, Kim Yumi. Perhaps it was because she was too moved by seeing her colleague get married. Or because Bobby's words were too gentle. Yumi's tears kept welling up. After the wedding, she rushed to the airport. Getting her laptop back made Yumi completely relieved. Although Bobby's plane had already taken off, she still wanted to say thank you. I wish you all the best over there. Oh, didn't you leave? The plane was delayed. It's like it was delayed just to see you. Do you have a boyfriend? No. What about you? Do you have a girlfriend? I've seen someone. But in reality, Bobby wasn't seeing anyone at all. He never even went on the blind dates his colleagues set up. Yumi, now alone, started to work hard with determination, focusing on her career. When inspiration ran dry, she would do some housework. When tired, she would lie down and rest for a while. After successfully submitting her manuscript, Yumi found she had signed for a laptop. Having heard Yumi lost her laptop before, Koo Won bought a new one and sent it to her. I have to say, Koo Won is really a thoughtful and warm guy. This day, Yumi decided to return the laptop to Koo Won. But while waiting, she accidentally discovered a pile of account names on Koo Won's desk. And they looked strangely familiar. It turned out the comments praising her under her novel were all written by Koo Won. And it was those warm and encouraging words that gave her great support. Learning Yumi had come to his company, Koo Won came running, but he was too nervous and fell to the ground. It's okay. Seeing Koo Won still being so clumsy, Yumi couldn't help but tease him. That night, Yumi attended the publishing house's party. She had a lot of fun. After returning home, Yumi couldn't sleep, looking at the first snow outside the window. She looked forward to her next love arriving.